Have you ever ended a phone call and felt completely drained of all your energy? Have you ever said yes to a request while every fiber of your being was screaming no? Have you ever laid awake at night replaying a conversation with a critical family member or a demanding friend, feeling a mix of guilt, resentment, and exhaustion? If so, you are not alone, and you have likely come face to face with a desperate need for one of the most misunderstood and crucial spiritual tools: a healthy boundary. For many of us, especially as Christians, the very idea of setting a boundary can feel selfish or unloving. We've been taught to turn the other cheek, to go the extra mile, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. So we start to believe that being a good Christian means having no limits, being endlessly available, and absorbing the emotional baggage of everyone around us. We think that our purpose is to be a doormat for others to wipe their feet on, in the name of love. But what if I told you that this belief is a profound misunderstanding of Scripture? What if the Bible is not a manual for burnout, but a guide to building healthy, sustainable, and truly loving relationships? What if God Himself is a God of order and boundaries, and He designed you to have them too? Today we are going to dismantle the guilt and discover the freedom found in the biblical guide to setting healthy boundaries. We will learn that a healthy boundary isn't a wall you build to push people away. It is a fence you build to protect the sacred garden of your life so that good things can finally grow. Before we learn how to set boundaries, we must first tear down the myth that they are somehow unchristian. Many people believe that Jesus was endlessly available and never said no. But a closer look at the Gospels reveals a master of healthy boundaries. Jesus regularly withdrew from the needy crowds to rest and pray, protecting His energy and His connection with the Father. He often refused to answer the manipulative questions of the Pharisees. He even gave firm, clear rebukes to His closest friends, like when He told Peter, "Get behind me, Satan." Jesus' love was perfect, but His access was not unlimited. He operated from a place of divine purpose, not human demand. In fact, God established boundaries from the very beginning of creation. He separated light from darkness. He set the boundaries of the sea. In the Garden of Eden, He created a boundary around a specific tree. The entire tabernacle and temple were designed with courts and veils, different levels of access. Boundaries are not a human invention to deal with a broken world. They are a divine principle for creating a healthy one. So how do we apply this divine principle in our messy, complicated lives? The Bible gives us 3 foundational pillars for setting healthy boundaries. Pillar number 1, the boundary of responsibility. The Apostle Paul gives us a masterclass in this in his letter to the Galatians. In chapter 6, verse 2, he says, "Carry each other's burdens." This is the verse we all know. It speaks of compassion, of helping someone who is crushed by a weight, too heavy to bear alone, a crisis, a tragedy, a sudden loss. But just 3 verses later, in verse 5, he says something that seems contradictory. For each one should carry their own load. A burden is a catastrophic weight. A load is a person's daily backpack of responsibilities. The Bible calls us to help carry each other's emergency burdens. It does not call us to carry the daily load of a capable adult who refuses to carry it themselves. This distinction is the key to freedom. A healthy boundary means learning to discern between a friend's true burden and their chronic irresponsibility. You are not being unloving when you refuse to carry a load that God designed for someone else to carry. In fact, carrying it for them might be enabling their immaturity and robbing them of the opportunity for God to teach them faithfulness. Pillar number 2, the boundary of honesty. Unhealthy, boundary-less relationships thrive in the murky waters of hints, assumptions, passive aggression, and unspoken expectations. The biblical solution is breathtakingly simple. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 15 tells us to be speaking the truth in love. A few verses later it says, "Therefore each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor." A healthy boundary must be a spoken boundary. People cannot read your mind. You must use your words. This is often the hardest part because we fear conflict. But speaking the truth in love is the kindest thing you can do for a relationship. It honors the other person enough to be honest with them. A simple, loving, and clear no is much healthier than a resentful and bitter yes. You can learn to say things like, "I love you, but I am not able to do that for you right now." Or when you speak to me in that tone, it makes me feel disrespected. I need you to speak to me more gently. The goal is not to win a fight, but to invite the other person into a healthier way of relating, based on truth and mutual respect. And pillar number 3, the boundary of access. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23 gives us this urgent command. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Your heart, your inner world of peace, joy, and connection with God is your most precious God-given asset. It is the wellspring of your entire life, and it is your responsibility to guard it. This means that not everyone gets the same level of access to your life and your heart. Think of your life like a house. Some people are friends you meet on the front lawn. Others are invited onto the porch. A smaller, trusted group is invited into the living room, and a very select, safe few are given access to the most private rooms of your heart. A boundary of access means recognizing that people who are consistently critical, negative, manipulative, or draining cannot be given a front row seat in your life. It is not an act of hate to limit your time with them. It is an act of wise stewardship over the peace God has given you. You can love them from a distance, pray for them from afar, but you must guard your heart above all else. So let's bring this together. Boundaries are not selfish. They are not unchristian. They are a form of sacred stewardship. You are stewarding your energy, your time, your peace, and your purpose. The 3 pillars are your guide. The boundary of responsibility, knowing what load is yours to carry and what is not. The boundary of honesty, speaking the truth with love. And the boundary of access, guarding your heart as your most precious treasure. When you begin to implement these, you will find a new freedom. You will begin to love people from a place of genuine desire, not resentful obligation. You will find you have more energy to serve God and others in the ways He has truly called you to. This is the prestige of faith, a faith that is strong enough to be both tender and truthful, both loving and limited,